So Gabrielle, say hello so I can make sure I can hear you.
Hello, Ramon. It's so good to be here with the Smart Hustle Nation.
Thanks for being here with us. Mike McAllowitz, I heard you. Thanks for being here. How are you, Mike?
Doing well. I'm prepared for the reciprocal prank that you have to do on me now.
Not today.
Okay, we're good then.
Is this like your 10th call today, Mike, or 20th?
Something like that, yeah. Can you see the bags? Yeah.
Dana White, how are you? Thanks for joining us today.
I'm well. Thank you, Ramon. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. You're so welcome. I'm so glad to have you here. Dana and I have heard her voice so long on the Lauren Feldman is a friend to probably half the audience here. Many people know him. So I first heard of Dana White on the 21 Hats podcast, and we got to know each other a bit on a variety of things. And so, of course, Mike and I go way back. Gabrielle and I met through a mutual friend. I shared some things on the Tory Burch Foundation chat and with their community. And thank you, Gabrielle, for being here. So listen, we have about 30 minutes together. Time goes by so fast, and I really want to get insight from the audience as well. That's really what I want to do. I want to have them just fire questions and get help. That's what we're here for. Before we do that, Dana, maybe I'll turn to you. I don't know, take 2, 3, 4 minutes, set the stage for us, who you are. I know you own a hair salon. You're a speaker. You're like on podcasts. So tell us who Dana is and tell us a little bit about your journey.
Yeah, so as Ramon said, my name is Dana White, and I am the proud owner of Paralee Boyd. It is a small chain of walk-in only hair salons in Detroit, Michigan. Anyway, so as we were saying, you pivot. You do what you have to do. Nobody asked for COVID. COVID came, and we had a choice. Yeah. So Dana made several choices. Dana chose to be afraid. Dana chose to be still. But at the end of it, Dana chose to get up and found that opportunity. I saw that opportunity came my way, and it came in the form of, Dana, could you talk more about this? Dana, can you consult with me on this? Dana, as a business owner, I have questions about this. And I'm like, why are you asking me? I'm in freeze mode right now. But, when you have good people around you, good people say, you know what, you should probably look into this. And so now this is my second speaking event today. I find myself doing a lot of speaking because Paralee Boyd is up and running. So that's how you pivot.
I love it. I appreciate that. Dana, can't wait to hear more from you. Again, as you guys are, ladies and gentlemen, as you're in the chat here, feel free to ask questions, specific questions. Hey, Dana, this, hey, Mike, or general, we're here to help you. Mike, I'll turn to you next. Mike, listen, we go way back. People are commenting on your books. They're commenting on your bookshelf. Maybe they're commenting on your hair, your t-shirt. I don't know. But Mike, drop some signs. Radko. For the few who don't know a little bit about you, Mike, give us a summary of who you are and maybe just unpack whichever book you want to unpack, the latest one. What nuggets in there? Go for it.
Sure. So I'm an author for small businesses, but my background is entrepreneurship. I've been an entrepreneur my entire life. The obligatory, and it is obligatory, comment is I built and sold a couple companies at a private equity exit, at a Fortune 500 exit. But I think the important part of that story is after selling businesses, I became chock full of myself. Arrogance and ignorance is a deadly combination. I started to become an angel investor. I started all these businesses and blew money on just ridiculous thoughts and decisions and thinking I was so smart. And the turning moment for me, kind of the wake up to what entrepreneurship really is about, was when I evaporated all our wealth. I lost everything, my house, cars, possessions. I didn't lose my family. And my daughter, at 9 years old at the time, ran to her bedroom to grab her piggy bank. And she came back to me. She goes, Daddy, since you can't provide for us, I will. And so I think about it, getting emotional. It was a shameful moment, but it was also a moment that turned my life. I'm now on a mission to eradicate entrepreneurial poverty. You'll see it on my wall right there. Eradicate entrepreneurial poverty. There is this gap that we experience, this vision we have as entrepreneurs of what it'll be like, financial freedom, independence, being able to do what you want when you want, and the reality, working our butts off, no money. I'm on a mission to close that gap. And I do it through my books, and they're all simple strategies to do that. One of my most popular books is called Profit First, a way to stop putting profit last and to use the pay yourself first principle in your business so you assure profit permanently.
I love that, Mike. And amazing. So thank you for sharing that. And thank you for being here. And people are already asking me, how can I reach this person? How can I reach that? Don't worry. Afterward, all of you will get an email, how to reach people. No, I will not send emails to all these people, all that. But Mike, you can just Google Mike McAllowitz, Gabrielle, Raymond McGee. Definitely check her out at the Tory Burch Foundation. Easy to find, but we'll send links. Big community that you should all join. Dana White Inspires.
Hey.
Check her out there. Gabrielle, tell us what inspires you, a bit about yourself, but I know for you what's more important is the Tory Burch Foundation. So feel free to touch on yourself, but talk to us about your community, what you guys are building. And I've been there with you. You have some powerful, powerful women, few men in there too, but amazing people there. So feel free to unpack, as the others did, about yourself and your mission and TBF in particular, why it's so important to those listening today.
Great. Well, thanks, Ramon. And you're certainly one of those special men in our community. So
Indeed.
Thanks for all your support. So my background is I've spent my whole career trying to help big brands do good. Before Tory, I worked in sports. So I worked in golf, I worked for Major League Baseball, I worked in hockey, and always believed in the power that sports could bring people together. Tory recruited me about 7 years ago to help lead her foundation. And from the start of her company, she always knew she wanted to have a foundation. And when she was fundraising, people told her, stop talking about corporate social responsibility when you're fundraising. We're not interested. Fast forward today, that is critical to any business. And what I love about Tory is she's always had a very clear vision, which is to empower women and specifically small business owners. Can't think of a more important time than now to do that. If you look at the stats, women were undercapitalized before COVID, and it's even worse now. And so we're trying to change that. Ramon, you were a part of our webinar series. What we realized in the midst of this crisis is there's so much information out there, but what's credible and what's easy to follow. Yeah. So the foundation, we have a Tory Burch Foundation webinar series that we rolled out right at the start of COVID. Still in existence. You can check out all of our webinar series on the YouTube channel for Tory Burch Foundation. And we cover everything you can think of. So how to navigate PPP in an easy to follow way, which is very difficult. How to communicate to your customers through this crisis and how to be clear in where you are today with your customers. And that webinar series will start again on September 16th. So be sure to check it out. And then we've also released a ton of toolkits on our site that are all free. We've partnered with some of the best experts on everything from finance to SEO to cybersecurity. So our goal is really to provide the very best resources for women, small business owners, and to make it all free.
That's powerful. I like those two words, best resources free. You don't hear that too many places, except in my house on Saturday mornings. I make the best pancakes. Well, actually, they're not for free. I have to pay for them. So, but
and anyway. Bacon, right? Yeah, if I remember correctly.
Okay. You know it. Exactly. So let's dive into it. We got several questions here, but I want a few more for the panel. Mike, I'll turn to you first. And I think, Mike, listen, you and I have been together on a few calls, videos, etc. I heard you're great when you did with Melinda and John Jantz yesterday. That was amazing. Yes. Unpack it, Mike. What are 2 or 3 of the best things that you're hearing or problems you're hearing? And more importantly, can you just tell the Smart Hustle audience, what are the 2 or 3 nuggets of advice that you find yourself repeating over and over and over again that you're saying, Ramon, this is kind of what's bubbling to the top of everything that you're going through?
Yeah, the big one is go to Ramon Ray's house on Saturday for pancakes, apparently. That's pretty big.
I'll take that.
I think we got to relabel what's going on. You know, 2008 was the Great Recession. 2020 is the grand reinvention. We as entrepreneurs need to adjust. And it's not we who need to change. It's we who need to change to customer changing demand. The customer is now expecting something new. We're expecting new environments in restaurants and so many of these former areas we used to gather, sporting events and other things like that. You do that by asking. So the number one action you can do right now is reach out to your past clients or patrons and say, how can we serve you now? And they'll give you insights on what they need. I'm in a little town here in Boonton, New Jersey, actually not too far away from you, Ramon. There was a restaurant who did exactly that. Some restaurants sadly folded. They didn't respond at all. Other ones started doing takeout, which is an obvious solution. One restaurant out of 25 in our area here reached out to customers and said, how can we serve you now? They said, we need hot meals, but we don't want to wait for delivery for an hour, and we don't have the time to come to your place, and we feel at risk. They teamed up with a food truck. A food truck is going into neighborhoods with hot meals and delivering 60 to 80 meals within an hour. Right. That is radically different. So how can this be a grand reinvention for you? This is an opportunity. The second thing is to start moving in small steps. You know, we got to start testing out our new stuff. If you have a new idea, a new way to service, don't go all in on it and burn up the last dollars you have. Put little tests out there, little betas. And the ultimate beta test is this: ask for people's money before you deliver your product or service in that test format, because people speak the truth, not through their words. We're socially polite to each other. We speak the truth through our wallets. So if you tell your customers, hey, we're thinking about rolling out the food truck, would you be interested? Most will say yes, because they want to support your enthusiasm. But when it comes to the buying time, they may not. So instead say, hey, we're going to introduce a food truck. Would you be willing to do a pre-order on our first delivery? If no one's buying, they're not buying. They speak the truth through their wallets. That's the biggest tips I can give you right now.
Yeah, no, you're right. They speak the truth and they vote with their wallets. That's for sure. I know, Dana, you've talked about a lot of that with Lauren Feldman, who's coming up whenever he's coming up in this thing. And I've learned a lot from you hearing that. Dana, what are you seeing? Again, you have a business. We all of us here are in business, but I'm going to use you as the person who's owning that kind of retail business. Hit hard, you reinvented. What are the things you've learned? What are the things that you're saying, Ramon, man, a few months ago, we were doing like this? I'd like to hear that, what it was like last year, but more importantly, what have you learned in the past several months that maybe we can learn from and we can help, that we can learn from you?
Yes, think about who the past is gone. What's done is done, and the business and the vision you had for your business, the vision you had for your business is tied to a different past. Think about who and what your business is going to be in the future, right? So for Apparently Boyd, that was no longer generating revenue simply by having butts and seats, right? We need to meet our customers where they are. So that's getting a line of hair care products that is in line with our business model and who we are, staying committed to healthy hair care. And that's also putting a series of videos up, again, not assuming that just because you've bought our products that you know what to do. If we're committed to healthy hair care, then let's stay committed and empower our guests to work in what the new normal is and work at home.
Wow, that is powerful. And do you find it hard, Dana, for people to let go of the past? And again, we've all new normal. We keep talking about it, but do you find that people just aren't getting it? Some people are hoping that I can't wait in a year or whatever things happen, election or not election, is not political. My point is though, people are waiting for something and thinking it's going to go back the way it was. Do you find that people you're talking to are some people are hanging on still?
Absolutely. And so that's been part of my pivot. I've had the privilege of speaking at Goldman Sachs. I'm on the podcast. And so when people hear me, they say, hey, can we talk? And I talk and have found myself coaching a lot of people. And one of the biggest hurdles that they have to get over is trying to change their perspective and alter their vision for what is coming up next, based on who you're going to be, not based on who you were. That is the hardest thing, because as business owners, we've been so focused and so driven based on growing this company based on this. That foundation has been rattled and shook, and it's coming back together, but it will not be the same. So I'm telling entrepreneurs, get ready for the business to come in the new normal. Add a layer of revenue if you can, and take all that you've learned, right? As I've said to other people, are you shooting for the stars? Or are you shooting for the street lamp? Right? The street lamp is only going to get you so far, right? And that's fine, right? But if you're shooting for the stars, then you're going to cover a wider area. So it's just getting their perspective to change on where we were versus where we are and where we're going to go.
And Danny, you know that Gabrielle's eyeing you. She's like, Ramon, what's her cell number? We're going to have her in front of thousands and thousands of people at Tory Burch Foundation. So I'm just letting you know. Yeah. Mike and I are just, we'll just bring them water or something like that. Gabrielle, what are you seeing? What I like about Tory Burch Foundation, and I'm guessing kind of what I envision where you are, Gabrielle, you're seeing all this. You and your team, thousands and tens of thousands of those who are just starting out, those who are struggling, those who are rocking it, and many of these are female founders. What can we learn from Tory Burch Foundation, what you're seeing day to day? What are you hearing, Gabrielle, that we need to know to go on and to survive and thrive today?
Well, first of all, it's so clear from this crisis that small business owners are truly the lifeblood of our country. And so for us on the foundation team, we are continuously amazed by our entrepreneurs' resiliency, by their focus, by their ability to get off the floor, dust themselves off, and find a new plan. And I think when I think about key lessons, I think so many of us are planners, right? I'm certainly a planner. And you've kind of had to throw out those polished plans and adapt. I think of it as improv. So many of our Tory Burch Fellows are acting like improv actors, where they're just really focused on listening to their customer. One of my favorite stories that comes to mind is Charisse Jones, who owns the company Sassy Jones, which is an accessory company.
Everybody check that out. Charisse Jones, Sassy Jones.
Yes.
Check it out. Buy thousands of dollars worth of stuff. Mike, you can buy a couple $100,000 worth of stuff. So, and you too, Dana. So go ahead.
So I actually just ordered earrings and a necklace from her today. Her jewelry line is beautiful. But she had to get really clear on what was working and what wasn't. And she had a retail store, and she realized only 2% of her sales were coming from this retail store. And obviously it's great to have a brick and mortar store with your name on it that people can come in and you feel good about yourself. But she had to be so disciplined in saying, this is not working. So she shut that store. She was just named to Inc.'s 5,000 list on number. Wow. She's listed as number 75 for businesses that are doing even better in the midst of COVID. So I think the key lessons that I'm certainly seeing from our fellows are get clear on what's working, what's not. Be okay with being an improv actor and like listening to your environment. And we've had so many entrepreneurs pivot, focus more on virtual, of course, and the creativity inspires me.
Yeah, no, for sure. I always like to acknowledge, thank you, Gabrielle. I always like to acknowledge those who have not done so well. It's just something in my heart, acknowledging that even though the four of us are here, we're blessed and doing okay, I guess, in some degree, and those on the chat. But, you know, for those of you who are listening, and I'm going to turn to you, Dana, maybe to pick up on this. For those of you who are listening and your business is closed, you back to your mother or father's house, you're in a mound of debt, you know, you just signed the lease, and then boom, I don't know what to tell you, but I just want to say I feel you as well. Everything's not rosy. We know that. So I just that's anything. But Dana, what do you have to say for those people that are just like the carpet got ripped? They're right now as you're saying, they're in pain. Any thoughts? Say to them.
Remember, it is so easy to forget who you are, where you are, and what brought you to this point. Remember before you take your next step. When you started your business, there was something in you and there were things that you needed to have in order to get to the point you were. Remember what those are and figure out how can I use that going forward. It may not be in it may not be in a brick and mortar, right? That's what I had to do. I was ready to close Paralee Boyd March 20th. And I was sitting down and my mother said to me, I said, Mom, am I whining? She said, no, you're forgetting it. Remember everything you need to get you to this position right now. Now, if you decide, hey, it's not Paralee Boyd, then so be it. But you need to remember, and it sounds easy. It's, oh, just sit there and remember. I know you're on your couch, but that people will say, oh, just start all over. But how do you start? You start by being gentle with yourself, having a seat and remembering, and then pulling those tools together to take you to your next step, whatever that may be.
Yeah, no, it's powerful. So it's okay to, so Dan, I'm hearing you say it's okay to cry a bit. It's okay to go in a corner and just rock and moan for a bit, but you got to move on.
Absolutely. Cry, wail, you know, eat a vat of ice cream, whatever you need to do, but then you get up.
Yes.
You get up and get prepared to jump, and you build your wings on the way down.
Yeah.
Don't wait to build your wings before you go. You need to jump, then build your wings on the way down.
For sure. Mike, I'd like you to rip into, if you don't mind, just 1 or 2 minutes to take us through some of the things that are in Fix This Next. Before you do that, listen, I want to ask questions. We have about, I'm bad at math, 12 more minutes to go. I really am, Gabrielle. I'm serious. 12 more minutes. We're probably going to end in about 10 minutes because I want to leave time for questions, some other things we want to do. But ask your questions. So I'm going to try to look at the chat as Mike's diving into Fix This Next. I want to hear what some of the tips are in there, and I encourage you all to check it out for sure. And definitely check out Tory Burch Foundation. Love it. You will love what it is. And definitely all the people, I want to contact Dana. I want to contact Dana. Well, right there in the lower third. But Mike, unpack Fix This Next. What are the 2 or 3 things in there that we need to know about? And again, everybody, ask those questions. I'm going to see it here. Ask the questions, and I'll ask them as well. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, well, it does start with mindset. So building on what Dana said, you know, we are not our circumstances. We are we. And your circumstances are simply what we must navigate. But don't forget the essence of who you are. Fix It Next is the realization that when we move our business forward, it's now going to be sequential steps. Don't expect to fix everything at once. But the fundamental mistake that many businesses are making, as I did this research, is believing that sales cures everything. That is a lie. Sales are necessary, don't get me wrong, but they're not sufficient. You need to extract profit from it. So what I found is there's different sequences or different stages we go through. First is you must have some sales. Right now in your business, if you have any degree of sales, the next question is, are we extracting profit from it? Sales ultimately is the vanity metric. I don't care if you're doing 100,000 or $100 million or more. It doesn't matter. What I do care about is how sustainable your business is and how well it's serving you to your expectations. Truly, actually, I had a friend that had a $250 million business that went bankrupt because they didn't manage the profit. I have friends that have a $100,000 business and they're living their life of comfort. Who's the winner here? I suggest sales are necessary, but profit is just as necessary. Once that's achieved, we start focusing on order and efficiency. This is so important. An entrepreneur's job is not to hustle and grind. Our job is not to do the work. The number one job of entrepreneurs is to provide jobs. 7% of the global population will ever be business owners or entrepreneurs. 93% are people who want to work for stable businesses. We entrepreneurs are the providers of jobs. So if you're hustle and grinding, think about it this way. You're stealing a job from someone else. Your responsibility is to have a clear vision, to choreograph resources, technology, and people to make that vision a reality. So start providing jobs. Now, I know if you're that small business right now and you move back to your mom's house and you're eating Ramon's pancakes, that you're probably not in the position to hire some full-time people. But what you can do is maybe have someone help you out an hour or two a week. Maybe it's mom at home, or maybe it's a virtual assistant. But start peeling that work away from you. Not only are you starting to provide work for someone else, but more importantly, you're starting to learn the discipline of how to assign work to others, to assign outcomes to others. Once that's done, the next stage is impact. Many businesses try to jump to an impact stage without getting the sales, profit, and efficiencies built in, but you need those first. It's putting your oxygen mask on so you can breathe before you help other people breathe. Impact is where we start being of service to our community. That's where the great vision comes true. This is where our services are not transactional, but transformational. And the final stage of the Fix This Next process is legacy. Legacy is not necessarily the generational passing of your business, but it's the realization the day will come that you realize you've never been a business owner. You've always been a business steward, meaning you've had a responsibility to bring this organization to life, about the continuance of this organization, and it of service to generations of patrons. That's the process you go through. Start at the beginning and see how you're doing and move along. Don't stay stuck in sales. Don't stay stuck in profit. Get adequate at each level and then recap from the beginning.
Wow. Wow. Thank you. Thank you, Mike. That was powerful. Listen, somebody asked you a question. They addressed it to Mike. Indeed, they just to Mike, but I'm going to turn it first to Gabrielle and Dana. Gabrielle, I'll turn to you first. The question is to Gabrielle about starting from zero. There's a number of people here in the Smart Hustle community. I'm guessing because I've been involved a bit. I see that, the community, the Tory Burch Foundation could be similar. There's those who are starting, those who are already growing a bit. But the person asked Gabrielle, any tips, advice for somebody who's starting from ground zero? Some people, Gabrielle and Dana and Mike, as you know, they've recently let go of their jobs. They got fired from the jobs. They're like, you know what? I want to do what Mike's doing, what Ramon's doing, what Gabby, what Dana's doing. So any one or two tips, Gabrielle, for those who are starting from zero? Then I'll turn to you, Dana, and then Mike, and we'll see how much time we have left.
Sure. So first of all, I'm so encouraged to hear that people are starting now. And we see that over and over again in our community, brand new entrepreneurs. And I think this crisis has forced us all to get really clear on what actually matters to us. And so I'm really optimistic that the best businesses are going to come from this crisis because we're clear on what actually matters. How to get started? First of all, there are so many resources out there. And what I see over and over again in our community are entrepreneurs who are trying to do everything by themselves. And that does not work. And Mike alluded to that. We had Seth Gooden come and speak to our Tory Burch Fellows. And he said, do you want to be a freelancer or an entrepreneur? And I thought that was so powerful. And I can't wait to read Mike's book because it sounds like there are a lot of interesting lessons there, which is don't do it by yourself. Visit torybirchfoundation.org, visit our website. We have a business plan builder that you can just type in your ideas and it generates to become custom to your business plan builder. So you don't have to just hustle and not go anywhere. You need to be really clear on what matters to you and what resources are around you. And there are plenty.
Powerful question. I'm going to change the script a bit, Mike and Dana. Thank you, Gabrielle, for that. And definitely check out Tory Burch Foundation. And remember, our next speaker is coming up, Carol Roth, founder of Future File. I see here pending there from CNBC. Trisha Tate, The Art of Money Matters, the money queen, lady, king, princess, however you want to call it. So I'm excited to have these two awesome entrepreneurs and ladies, Carol and Trisha, coming up next. What I would, because another question came in, Mike and Dana, so I'm going to ask that one first. I'll turn to you, Dana. The aspect of cost cutting, that's the bottom line, is that COVID's already hit us. We're already trying to cut, and people are alluding to what Mike said about profit. But Dana, how do I cut when I've already cut? And I know, Dana, it's a general question, may not be so fair, but any ideas, things you've done through to think either cut or I got to make more money? Any thoughts? So a question kind of on money is the question.
It's cut to make more money, cut and make more money. Paralee Boyd is already a lean manufactured salon, so we operate in cutting. What we had to do was decide, how do we operate in this new normal, understanding that our guests are still very much afraid to come and get their hair done, but still keep people employed. And so cutting it's not cutting or in a situation, it's cutting and. If I had retained all 19 people on, expecting the volume that we used to have, Paralee Boyd would have been hurt, right? So what we have to do is cut to make more money. And so for people, I would recommend, this is a lean time. Let it go, cut it off, throw it, get rid of it. Don't get rid of it and put it away for if it ever does come back. But right now you need to be streamlined, focused on the service you provide or the product you provide, and just bare minimum, what do I need to get this in the hands or to provide this to the service of the people who need it? That's it.
Awesome. Love it. Mike, you're the king of, profit. That's what you talk about. Sometimes, Mike, it annoys me. I'm like, I'm $1 billion company. Mike is like, I don't care. Because I'm $2 billion. I'm like,
and actually that points to what I wanted to share. Top line is such a vanity metric. So when I hear millions or billions, I don't care. What I do care about is the health of an organization, the continuance organization, and that's defined by profitability. Cut the vanity stuff. So the office space, if you still have it, does it really benefit your clients, or is it really benefiting how you feel? The assistant you have, are they really serving you, move your organization forward, or is the fact that you can direct someone around? The cars. Cut the vanity metrics or the vanity elements and amplify what gives you a return. But the biggest opportunity is in margin. It's all about the positioning of something. How can you make what you currently offer more palatable, more desirable to your clients? And often, it's interesting, many small businesses, the biggest pushback they get on pricing is not from their customers, it's from the business owner's own mind. I can't charge that. What are people going to say? I will tell you this. The first measurement of quality is price. Ramon, right now, if I dropped a diamond on the desk and said, "Oh, that's worth $5," you would know instantly it's a gimmick, it's a cubic zirconia, it's costume jewelry. If I put that down and say that's $5,000, then you'll say, "Oh, let's be careful with this. You'll pick up tweezers, you'll put it in a safe." Right. Nothing changed. It could be the exact same piece, but the dollar figure forces us to interpret value. Therefore, margin's your biggest opportunity, and sometimes, just by increasing price, people start seeing more value in you.
Yeah, that is powerful. Listen, Gabrielle Raymond McGee, Tory Burch Foundation. You can just Google it, the organization, her, him, whichever pronoun the organization is. I'll go with her for right now. So definitely, Gabrielle Raymond McGee, Tory Burch Foundation. Check out all their amazing programs. And as Gabrielle said, I think 457 times, it's free. So check it out for sure. And you don't even have to be dressed fashionably to be a member of the Tory Burch Foundation. They even work with people like me, so I'm a schlub. So Dana White, owner of Amazing Hair Salon in Detroit area. And check her out because she's a speaker, podcast, influencer, and more. Mike, Dana's going to be gunning for our jobs, Mike. So we're going to bring her into the fold.
That's awesome.
DanaWhiteInspires.com.
Check out Dana. Those of you ask, how do we find out where Dana is? Check her out.
It's now live. We had some technical difficulty, but DanaWhiteInspires.com is up.
Love it. Congratulations. And Mike Michalowicz, author of so many books. You can see some of them back there. My personal favorite, Profit First, which has helped my business. So Mike, thank you. Dana, thank you. Gabrielle.
Thank you, Ramon. Thank you.
Thanks, Ramon.
Good luck, guys. Keep going, guys. Keep going.
Indeed. Thank you so much.